I don't know, you always bring me out to Madison in the coldest time of the year.
You're the rider of the year.
Child coming.
Hey.
Wow, dude.
2019 Vital BMX Rider of the Year. All around great guy, Mr. Kevin Peraza. Kevin, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Wrapping up the year. Super hyped to be out here. Didn't expect to run into you here in Wisconsin, so.
So you live in Tucson, Arizona, one of the warmer places on earth. It's middle of December. It's probably about 80 degrees there. I think outside today it was 15. So what the hell are we doing here?
We came to visit the Pacific Cycles Mongoose headquarters to talk about some projects for 2020 and just meet up with everyone and wrap up the year and talk about how the year went, everything. And you surprised me with this. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like this was kind of a huge year for you. I think it was definitely the biggest year of your career. Did you feel that way as well, or is this just kind of another, you're just still doing you and it just kind of turned out this way?
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as like my Vans shoe dropping this year, you know, and having all these extra travels between contests and doing like, you know, meet and greets and demos with like the whole Vans shoe launch, you know, I felt like just another year and everything's going well. You know, this year, thankfully, I haven't had any injuries that have held me back from going to events or just basically keeping me off my bike, which is mentally peaceful, you know, and with like my family and now with my wife, you know, and get engaged and having my civil wedding, you know, like everything's just been going with the flow, you know, and just, yeah, man, just mentally and physically feeling good on my bike and just in life in general and motivated and, you know, despite all the travel and everything, you know, it hasn't stopped me from continuing to work harder and to, you know, just keep going really, man. That's all it is.
How many flights?
Currently at 76 flights. 76
flights in 2019, excuse me. 76 flights in 2019. And I think all of them were for BMX trips.
Yeah, correct, man, which is such a blessing, man. As a kid, I dreamt about traveling, being able to just go to the event to watch, nevertheless be in the event, nevertheless to travel this many times for just BMX, man. And I can't be more grateful for every single, you know, person and sponsor and company that was there to support me and take me and to just really believe in me, man, and just be there for me as long as, you know, as well as my family, girlfriend, and, you know, and friends, you know, and it's crazy.
The Vans shoe came out this year, and I knew that was going to be a big deal, but I didn't realize how big of a deal it was going to be. And Vans really got behind it and worked with you to send you all over the world to promote this thing. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, man, I think, you know, it goes off to what I said before, to dreaming about this as a kid, you know, like, you dream about being able to meet like the Vans BMX Pro team, you know, and then getting added to the global team, you know, starting off in Mexico with Vans Mexico, you know, and then getting added to the Vans global team and being with, you know, guys like Gary Young and Scotty Kramer and Dakota Roach, you know, the endless list of these incredible athletes, you know, that you've looked up to your whole life, you know, and then getting the word that you're going to get like the first ever BMX official waffle cup bottom signature shoe, you know, and starting off the chain of the BMX shoe, you know, is, man, I don't know, man, it's crazy. It's definitely a dream come true to me, to my family, to everyone that looks up to me or everyone that hangs out and rides with me, man. It's a win for all of us, and I think to be the first one of the team to get that is such an honor, man. I can only thank Vans for everything, man, for everything they do for not only myself and the team, but BMX in general, being one of the companies that's really giving back to the sport as all these other companies have been walking away, you know, but yeah, man, it's crazy, it really is.
What's it feel like when you roll up to a spot and you see kids rocking your shoes?
Crazy. Not only is it like BMX kids, you know, that are supporting a company that's supporting the sport, but it's my shoe, man. Walking into a store and seeing it as well, or basically just going to the shopping center and seeing a random dad with a stroller wearing the shoe, or my t-shirt, you know, and something I designed and put in, you know, work with the marketing and graphic team of Vans, you know, and it's really out there, man. And like, obviously seeing the numbers and all that is a bonus, and like, but going across the, you know, the other side of the world and seeing that is crazy too, man.
You've had years in the past when you won the X Games, you've won big contests, you've done a lot of different things. This year, I don't really feel like, you might not have had the best results of your career, but I feel like every time you go to an event, whenever I see you there, you're doing your own thing and it's different. And I feel like you'll probably understand what I say, what I'm saying here. A lot of times you go to an event and somebody wins the contest, but then somebody wins the event. Who did the coolest stuff,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I feel like almost every event we go to, you're that guy or one of the guys. Maybe you're not on the podium, maybe you're not in that first place spot, but I feel like you're out there doing original things, having the most fun, and just really difficult, high-level riding. It's kind of insane. Do you feel that way when you go to events, or how do you approach stuff like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't ever necessarily think it's about winning a contest. I don't ever like tell myself like I'm gonna win a contest, you know. And obviously, like I'm at a contest because I want to do good, you know, and I do good for myself. But at the end of the day, it's a judge sport, you know. There's judges that have opinion, you know, and there's guys that really train for that moment and really beat themselves up when they don't get good results. As in, if I do what I want to do and get scored, however I get scored, you know, and walk away healthy and get to go pedal around and ride after, you know, it's a win for me, you know. And obviously being on the podium is incredible, and it's an incredible feeling, and it shows how hard you've worked. But at the end of the day, that's just a bonus, you know. And I think going to a contest and being a finalist with the 12 other best riders in the world, you know, at whatever event genre it is in BMX, you know, from street, dirt, and park, you know, it's like it's exciting as it is, you know. And I never forget the moment of dropping in to it is like, you know, winning a contest. I think it's just as exciting, you know. And when you forget to have fun and love what you do and do what you do instead of, you know, going out there and competing against someone else and like beating yourself up because you didn't get scored good and because someone else got scored better, you know. And that's when you don't enjoy it, and I think you get burnt out from contests. As in, like, I don't necessarily have to go to a contest and win a contest. It's more or less like, I think of it as a highlight. I think of it as an art, a freedom of expression, you know, like, this is me, this is what I like to do. I'm going to showcase my style of riding on this stage, this platform.
So do you get bummed at these events when you go nail a banger run? I've seen it happen where you go nail.
Yeah, it happens, yeah, for sure.
I've seen you go do an incredible run with tricks that you don't see in contests, nose 360s, just crazy technical moves in the middle of a contest. Probably the most difficult run out there, a run that couldn't be replicated. And every once in a while you'll do it and you'll pop up in like 7 or 8. Does that bum you out?
I mean, like I said before, it's a judge sport, you know, and so I know that judges have an opinion. Obviously, there's guys that are working harder, and some days they want to see certain styles of riding, and other days they want to see different styles, or every once in a while, like you get a wild card like me or Dennis or Pat Casey that does absolutely different thing, or risk for reward factor of tricks where a nose 360 at the end of the run is really technical, and it's a 50-50 chance that you're going to land it. And when I land it, I potentially hype myself up, and it's like lighting the fire, you know, and you just want to keep going, and then the run's over and you're like, no, I don't want to stop, you know. But yeah, I guess, you know, it does bum you out not getting a score you're expecting, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're expecting something in return, you know, it doesn't owe you anything. BMX doesn't owe you anything. So if you can get that satisfaction of like, I did my part and I'm happy with what I did today, it doesn't matter where I ended up in. It's like, that's the best reward. It's like, I did my part, I worked hard, and what I did today was super fun, and I'm super happy with my ride, and I'm proud of myself. That's way better than walking away disappointed in second or third place, wanting to win first place, you know?
You flare up to spine. What's up with that?
I don't know. The flare whip to fakie over the spine, it was a thought, just random thought about, like, I do a lot of flare to fakie over spines, like street spines, like back home, like never nothing really big. The biggest one I've ever flared to fakied was the Stuttgart, Germany one at the Vans Pro Cup. I did that one, and that was like a big boy, like 6.5, 7 foot spine, and it was double coping, which is pretty scary. Like, I think from that point, it was like, what else could I add in this? Like, that's like, when I think of best tricks, like on what I like to do, like that's like a best trick for me. You know, it's like no one else is gonna flare to fakie a spine that big. Yeah. And maybe it might not win a contest, but it's like the challenge and the process and like the mental process that you go through to figure out how exactly you're gonna under rotate on purpose to not go front end heavy. You know, and it's like when the flare whip to fakie came upon, it was more or less like a funny conversation with my brothers about like, you think I could flare whip to fakie a spine? Like, there's a best trick contest, the Dave Mirra best trick contest at X Games, you know, and like, I want to ride it, but I don't necessarily know what to do. And if guys do 1080 air, you know, if Mike Varga does a 1080 air or 900 whip, or Pat Casey comes in and does some crazy trick to fakie, you know, and Logan does some insane trick, you know, it's like, I don't necessarily think I can compete against those guys. Like, what could I do? And then the flare whip to fakie came upon, and I gave one legitimate go at X Games, and it happened to be my last try. And all I did was slide away from it. Like, I slid out, and it was like, this trick works, and it works. You know what I mean? Like, just from that feel, and obviously adrenaline kicked in. The whole rest of the day, I had this crazy jitter in my body, and this like mental process of how is this trick gonna work, and how did I figure out that trick, and how did it come upon so easily? Maybe it's muscle memory of doing flare whips for the last 10 years, but I think the trick was just like stuck in my head. Like, I need to find the spine. I need to do this ASAP because I don't feel comfortable not being able to land it, knowing that I can land it. They let you into the park and then they say time is up, but you can get it done, and so you fall into that mentality of like, I can do it, but they don't let me out of this cage, and then Vans Pro Cup Mexico City came upon. The crowd was insane. The vibration of the crowd, you could feel it like it was like a soccer match, and like being Mexican and going to Mexico City, growing up for all these contests, I have all this crazy support, and I felt the love. I felt like the energy of the crowd. Gabo, the Mexican announcer, with Daryl now, are during this best trick jam. I'm sessioning the best trick jam. Pat Casey's 540 whip in the box backwards, and it's like, I just want to flare to fakie the spine, and if it comes upon, I'm going to flare whip to fakie. And the first one I ever tried, the first flare whip I tried to fakie over the spine, it just worked, and it was sloppy. My half cab was sloppy, and I'm going to take it for now, but I'm definitely going to go back into the studio and get it done and really polish it up for a video project or something. So I don't know why I even thought about it, but it just works super well, and I got one done. So
one thing that was new for you this year, Mongoose did the Am Jams. One in Hastings, England, and one in your hometown of Tucson, Arizona. I know mentoring the next generation has always been really important to you. And I know there's always riders that you're bringing up and helping along the way. And this event really seemed to embody everything you're about. What was it like being a part of this event and specifically having one in your city?
Yeah, man, I think as far as what Mongoose is doing for BMX is giving back to the community. The company's been around for so long, and for them to really be as big as they are and give back to the sport is truly a blessing, man, to the sport itself. And going to Hastings and seeing all these young Groms and kids take off their training wheels and see parents smile, and be there as like a coach and helping out, and motivating these kids, and like with like no necessarily like pressure of a contest, and really get to session with my teammates as well, and it was real refreshing to just be there and ride that park and ride with all those kids. And it goes back to like what BMX is about, and the essence of, you don't have to necessarily be the best rider in the world to have a good time, and I was with kids that had just started riding, or kids that were almost at that level of professionals, of how good they were, and we were vibing, having a good time, and from then on we moved to Tucson, and giving back to the community has always been so huge for me. I've always felt support from like a lot of people that don't even ride BMX give to me growing up, and to people that absolutely love the sport, and I think Ian at Premises has built this second home for kids that don't have a place to go and necessarily just want to get away from all these distractions in life. And I think the Am Jam is perfect for those kids. There's a lot of contests nowadays that are invite only, or that you really have to pay a big pocket of money to travel to and to really commit to, and it's not necessarily cheap for a lot of families to send their kid to Europe for a contest that's open registration, and you bring an event like Am Jam to a local city like Tucson, where BMX is so big and there's a skate park and a scene that's growing, but it's the only skate park in the city, and it gets kids that haven't ridden in the last year back on their bikes, and that was something that I noticed. I saw kids come back to the skate park that I hadn't seen a year or two, and it's just refreshing, man. And it really is to see all these kids smile and have a good time and get to session with all these pros that I look up to and that I get to compete with and hang out with, get to call my friends and my teammates. And it's not necessarily like winning the jam is exciting. It's more or less just the vibes and the session that we all got to share with each other, and yeah, man, it's really that. And obviously like getting to session the park with my teammates, was also a treat. Like I said, we only really get to see each other at events and contests. So when we have moments like that, it's, there's no pressure, there's no competing against each other, there's nothing to prove, it's just like having a good time, And one thing I noticed was like, Pat was so hyped to be in Tucson because he got to bring Reed to one of his first events and to really be there instead of other contests where Pat has to leave his kid behind, or he's with,
Or his kid can't get on the course
his
and
kid
ride.
can't get on the course, and he's there watching from the outside. And this time they're together as father and son, sharing this moment together and being there and getting to hang out on the little section and Reed's on the big section with dad, you know. And it's like, those are moments that you can cherish for the rest of your life. And it's not necessarily winning the contest. It's like, I got to watch my son compete at the contest, you know, like that was so cool. And it's like, those are things that I think the Monks Jam are all about, you know, is getting kids back on bikes, getting kids hyped on cycling, you know, and obviously giving back to the kids, the new generation of kids that are going to be around, you know, keeping them involved in BMX and keeping them around for as long as they can be, you know, and enjoying it as well, you know. And like, kids are like asking me a few weeks prior, like, what do you think I should do in the contest? What do you think I should do in the jam? Like, I'm trying to perfect my, you know, my run or do this. And I'm like, just have fun, dude. Just enjoy it. It's not a contest. Don't think of it as a contest. At the end of the day, we're going to pick whoever was having the most fun. And I think that's the best part about it, you know. And we really got to see that's shared upon, like, rider to rider, you know. And kids came from all over the place, you know. And it's like, not expecting anything in return but a good time. And that was a turnout, you know. And families are hyped, you know. The skate park got going, and it's been moving ever since, you know. Kids have been coming back and really remembering, like, the joy of what BMX is, you know. And
I know you recently kind of made some changes in your personal life as far as going to the gym and riding road bikes and stuff, and kind of just taking a bigger focus on keeping yourself in good shape and healthy. What prompted that, and what are some of the things you've been working on?
yeah, I mean, I think everyone wants to ride BMX forever, you know, and I know that when I'm 60, I'm not going to be able to truck off a 15 stair. I just know it, you know, and my body's not going to take impacts slightly, you know, or maybe it will, you know. And I think at the end of the day is like, I love this, so I want to do this as long as I can. And a lot of guys are falling into that movement right now of longevity is key and being able to ride BMX as long as you can. You know, I have a lot of mentors, a lot of people that I look up to right now, you know, especially like my teammates, you know, that are really working hard to stay healthy and to be fit, you know. And I think injuries is what bums you out. You know, a lot of people fall into depression when they can't ride their bike, or really get bummed out when they get injured for simple things, you know. And I think you just have to be prepared, you know. And like, seeing my brothers and myself go through injuries, seeing other athletes go through injuries and not be able to bounce back and love what they do and be at their prime, you know, is a learning experience, you know. You learn from that, and you take that, and you really learn from it, you know. And from you know, like, dieting, you know, and feeling good on your bike, you know, and like having that energy is key to, like, stretching, you know. I'm young now, and if I can figure it all out now, and by the time I really have to be healthy in the gym in my 30s or middle of 30s, you know, it's like it's already like a daily routine for me. And I think riding road bikes has also been like not only a physical workout, but also a mental workout, where you're climbing, you know, 20, 30 miles up to the base of a mountain, and you feel like giving up. You're 15 miles in, you still have another 20 miles to go. You feel like giving up, and there's a 67-year-old old man that just cranks up past you and says good morning and just keeps going, you know what I mean? And those are things where it's like, he can do it, you know, I can do it, you know what I mean? And those are things I'm looking forward to. I know I'm not going to be able to do big tricks in my 60s, 70s, you know. It is what it is. But I have something to look forward to. It is road biking or mountain biking. And my friend Noah from Seekly Noah has been really, like, embracing me and showing me this other world of cycling, you know. And now I don't consider myself just a BMX rider, but a cyclist. And I think, you know, I've noticed people that just cycle or to commute or to work out or just for fun, you know, whether it's BMX, mountain bikes, or road bikes, or whatever it is, you know, they're a lot happier in life, you know, because they get that sense of peace, and they have their camaraderie of friends that just go out and cycle, you know. And I see this all the time, man. And it's like, I run into people on my local bike path all the time that are smiling, happy, or going through mental health, but they're on their bike and they're fighting that, and you're your best coach at that moment, you know. And
I know you're gonna have a hard time picking one, but give me a highlight. Number one moment from 2019.
2019.
I need you to give me.
I have no idea.
I need you to give me two highlights, because a BMX one and another one, because you just got married.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's some sort of highlight.
Yeah, that's definitely a highlight. I think getting a Vans shoe to actually drop with your name on it and your family name on it, to go worldwide and sell out multiple times, and see it in random places with cyclist, you know, and just continue to see it as never in a million years I thought I would get a signature shoe with Vans. That's a highlight for me, you know. And
Is that a bigger deal than getting married?
oh, I'm getting to that right now. You know, and like Vans taking me on this world tour, you know, like we were in Europe, we were in Eindhoven, Netherlands for one day, we were in Lyon, France the next day, Hastings, England the next day, and then we were in London, England the day after that, you know. And it's like that was in 4 days, 3 different countries, you know, and they took me around, took care of me, and we spread out, you know, we shared that the technology of the new shoe, and like it's just crazy, man, to think that like I went on like a mini world tour for my shoe launch that this company gave me, you know. And it's not even like the shoe itself, it's the fact that the company is really like investing and giving back to my sport, the sport that I love, and believing in me. At the end of the day, it's like they picked me out of all these guys to start this BMX waffle cup shoe. Like that's crazy, like a dream come true for sure, man. My brothers, my dad, like especially my dad's been wearing Vans his whole life, like growing up riding BMX and having a company like Vans continue to support and grow the sport, man. Like it's definitely a highlight of 2019. I think another highlight that I can't pick just one is definitely like getting engaged to my best friend and getting married, you know, this year is incredible. Estelle and I have known each other our whole lives. Her mom and dad are my mom and dad's good friends, and I think the fact that you can have that relationship and know someone that's going to support you prior being with them and you know, and like now being together is only that much more motivating to do good and to be better and to be a better athlete and a better person in life and just grow more, you know. And like she's helped me so much with like even like dieting, you know, and like, hey, I'm going to be vegetarian, like, oh, okay, you're going to be vegetarian, so am I, so you can have that ease to know that we're going to eat together and be together and learn together and grow together, you know. And like getting engaged was crazy. It was
got engaged in Japan.
Got engaged in Japan, one of my favorite countries. I think it's hard to pick my favorite countries, but I think Japan's one of my favorites as far as like cycling, you know, the respect and the community and how disciplined they are and just how kind and clean and everything is down there, you know. And like being in Japan for the Hiroshima FIS World Cup, you know, and then a lot of the times I really go out of my way to stay in a country after a contest or prior a contest to really see the culture and to live the culture, eat the local food, you know, see national monuments. It is what, you know, like you really have to take that into consideration nowadays, where a lot of guys will go contest event, or I mean, you know, contest hotel, and not really get to go out of the way and see what it has to offer. You know, like we're already going, might as well stay a few extra days and invest in yourself and have a good time. And that trip, we had gone to Sydney, Australia together for Vans Pro Cup, and then we flew to Hiroshima for the FIS World Cup, traveled around there. The next week we stayed in Tokyo, Japan, just for vacation, just for good times. I had carried the engagement ring for like 2 trips prior, you know, and it just wasn't about us. It was more of like the event and myself, you know, and I didn't want it to be a selfish thing. So going to Tokyo the week after, absolutely no responsibility, no work, nothing to do, just enjoy the moment, waking up as early as we can, enjoying every single day. And the last day of the trip, sun's out, sun's beaming. I was more nervous there than it is dropping in at X Games in front of thousands of people on TV and around the world. You know, I think I was way more nervous about doing that, but more excited at the same time. That I don't remember what I said to her, but she said yes, and we got engaged in Japan, you know. And yeah, and it's incredible. And those are moments like that I'll get to remember for the rest of my life. Like we not only got engaged, but we got engaged in a city that we both love, you know, and got to travel together and live these moments together. And we try to do as many trips as we can, you know. And I think at the end of the day, it should be like a best friend, you know. And our relationship is like a best friend, you know. Like
2020 is right around the corner.
Yeah.
What do you got in store?
Yeah, I mean, big things and exciting projects in 2020. I would say, you know, we're in Madison right now at the Mongoose office, you know, talking about my signature frame that's dropping again, you know, and I think, you know, as an athlete, you know, riding for a company, getting a signature part or frame is like winning a gold medal at an X Games or the Olympics. You know, it's just as exciting, just as rewarding, you know. And we're working on that, you know, and actually Itzel has been helping me mock up the designs for it, you know. So we're working as a team, like I mentioned before, and I think it's super exciting to really throw something out there that kids like and kids can relate to. I'm from Tucson, you know, so we have some like Arizona theme, you know, graphics on there that I'm really hyped on, you know, and that's one of the projects that's gonna be coming out. And obviously I'm gonna be working with filmers to get a video part coming out with the frame, you know, as far as content goes, like pushing the frame as much as it goes to wherever it can sell, you know, and to get kids motivated and riding, you know. And then obviously like you buy parts for kids you buy parts from guys that you look up to, so hoping to just motivate kids to get on Among Us and to see how much the brand has been supporting, you know, like giving back to BMX. Like a signature frame isn't cheap for a company, man, especially the production at the time and the employees, from graphic design artists to the engineering that goes into it, to the people that are actually producing it overseas. You know, it's a lot of investment for a company, and I'm super blessed to be a part of a company that's really giving back to not only the sport but myself, you know. And yeah, trying to make something cool, a lot of video parts that I want to film prior contest, and really just take into consideration like my travels and have fun. And
do you plan on traveling as much next year?
Yeah. I mean, travels will come and go, you know, and I'm gonna pick and choose where I want to go, you know, this next year. And my wedding ceremony is actually next year, so that's another thing that's super exciting. Looking forward to all the Vans Pro Cup events, you know. I'm currently in 10th place as far as like UCI standings go for Olympic qualifiers. Like obviously it's not an end goal for me to win an Olympics, you know. It's just another branch on my tree that I'm gonna take and give 100% effort to try and make it in, you know. And if I don't make it in, it is what it is. But I'm gonna
for those who don't know, you chose to represent Mexico, and it kind of threw a curveball at you, and you couldn't compete in a few events to get points.
Yeah.
So if you were on the same playing field as everybody else, I think you would be in the Olympics. I think you would have already qualified.
Okay.
But just kind of a side note there, you're in 10th, and you haven't been able to ride world championships. You've been restricted for a lot of things. So being in 10th is actually really impressive.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I didn't expect to be up in the points that quickly, you know. In 2018, I was riding for the U.S. as far as UCI license and how the legal stuff works. And this year, 2019, I decided to switch my license and my nationality, since I'm also half Mexican, to represent Mexico, since I already have in a lot of other events worldwide, you know, and to give someone to look up to, you know, in Mexico, to all my Mexican friends that ride, you know, and all the Latin American community that rides BMX. Like me being Mexican and having family from Mexican and my wife from Mexican, it's like I feel like I need to represent Mexico and be that guy. You know, there isn't another guy out there that's representing Mexico at the same level I am now, and it's a reason for me to give back to the community of BMX riders, to the government, to see that there is Mexican talent, you know, and to grow the sport in Mexico, in this massive country where they support all these other sports, but they completely forget about these core action sports, you know. And I think I could be a perfect representative to all these Mexican athletes and Mexican riders to give something to look forward to, you know. And I think, as far as countries go, you know, there's one spot available, you know, and if I could be that one spot and earn the country at spot, you know. And with me switching countries from USA to Mexico, I got penalized from riding the World Championships, you know, and that was a big curveball, because World Championships... That's a huge
amount of points. That's
a huge amount of points, you know, and me physically being healthy and prepared and ready to ride the World Championships after already being 1 week in China for the FIS World Cup, you know, I was hungry and I wanted to be there, but I took that as a note, you know, it's not my time, you know, and maybe things happen for a reason, you know, but I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping now. It's only making me that much more motivated and want to work harder to potentially make it in, you know. And I think the deadline's like the middle of May this next year, 2020. So I'll be working hard prior and after, regardless I make it in or not, you know, and motivating my friends that are also in the contest, you know, and obviously trying to make BMX look as good and fun as possible while I'm at it. So enjoying the moment, going with the flow, and represent Mexico and have that support behind my back since I've always had it, you know. And I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel with like documental style voiceover videos, you know. And
don't do lame shit if you do that.
I think it's cool. I think I've been selfish to not share a lot of my travels in life, you know. And a lot of people think it's perfect, you know. Like a lot of people think like I'm sitting in first class flights traveling overseas, you know. And there's times where I miss a flight and I'm in the middle of Europe and I can't leave the airport because I don't have a visa and I have to stay overnight, you know, and it happens, it really does. Or or you wake up late, or you have car problems and you can't get to the airport, you miss a flight, and you have to stay another day and you have to figure it out. But like with BMX being so family oriented, you get to meet all these cool people that have your back and support, you know. But I think being able to share my life and what I do outside of BMX with my personal life, my family, everyone that rides, you know, I think it'd be kind of cool to just share that story, you know, whether it's my personal life, riding life, or whatever it is on the side, you know, all the other hobbies I like to do, from designing, from drawing and painting, from wanting to shoot photography just for fun, you know, it's like, or traveling with my lady, you know, it's like, it's all fun. I think we should share that, you know. I think it's kind of cool. But that's one of my projects. A lot of things, man. So many projects, content, whatever it is. Location wise, like where I want to live, a lot of things come into play this next year since I'm getting married, and it's like I'm looking forward to all those things. Motivates me to do better at what I'm at right now, like work harder, be better, and like this grown-up life, you know. And just trying to figure out where I want to live and what's going to benefit me in the long run, but at the end of the day, what's going to make me happy, you know. And so whether it's moving out or moving away from Tucson, or whether it's being away for a few months in a different city, if it's going to grow me as a person and opportunities are going to keep shining, I'm just going to keep going with the flow. So whatever it is, 2020, I'm ready. Let's go. And enjoy it, man. Everyone that's watching, I can't thank you guys enough. To you, man, for this opportunity, for Ride of the Year award. Makes me want to work harder and try to get another one of these. I never thought it was possible. Now it's possible. And yeah, it's cool.